Hey guys, and welcome back to the finale of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. We've witnessed 5 conclusions thus far, and there's really only one player character, so to speak, left to feature, so now it's time for the tale of Kate, and man, that is one hell of an intro image, you know what I mean?
This entire chapter, its visuals are so radically different to everywhere in the village because we are at the Vallis Observatory and all the towers that Kate's been talking about throughout the game, it's gonna lead us towards all the messages she's left at each of them.
Okay.
And this is basically our last opportunity to get more bits of information about what's going on and really just Kate's feelings towards the whole thing. Again, why scientists don't keep their books inside, I don't know, but...
Again, it's everybody's gone to the Rapture. Not everyone's gone to the Rapture and taken their radios and books with them.
Everybody's gone to the library.
Oh wow. The same types of equations and whatnot, they're on the walls of the bunker.
I know it didn't mean to hurt any of them. I try and explain why Lizzie tried to leave with her child and why it was wrong to stop her. I try and explain that much of what it did was wrong.
This is interesting that Kate seems quite passive about Lizzie escaping and wanting the best for them, even though they're clashed so much.
Well, the child didn't do anything wrong, so it would be wrong of Kate to hold a grudge against it, you know?
True, yeah.
All of them are happy because they're together.
This is actually quite fascinating because it seems like Kate went on the same journey that we as the player have, because she's seen the same events.
It's very interesting that you bring that up now we're in Kate's chapter. These messages that have been left here, these seem like quite personal documents, like the voice messages that she'd left. They seem to be like a retelling of something familiar in a way. One of the theories passing around is that the person we are playing as is Kate. Very open to interpretation, but the idea is that Kate couldn't pass on for whatever reason, and what's led us to this point is her retracing the footsteps to come to terms with things. That is a fan theory. We don't know that for sure, but there's some weight to it, I guess.
I'd accept that.
It does certainly seem like a reasonable theory.
But all I saw were patches of color. I don't think until this
It just kind of comes to me as I don't know who else it could be.
Yeah, because, like, this is a radiation zone right now. Or, do you think the gas would have dissipated by now?
Well, we don't know how long after the Rapture this is. Like, it probably wouldn't have been that long given all the electrical equipment's still working. You know, there's TVs, radios, phones, all that kind of stuff. So I doubt it. You know, it would have probably needed much longer than that to clear.
Yeah. God, the use of colour here is amazing.
It's also fascinating that we have gone from the sunset of Stephen's chapter to essentially night. So the darkness has completely settled in and just everything is coated in these... the almost starry path that exists because of these particles.
I guess in a way it's almost using the day as we know it as our thing to correlate the progress in the story with, because although we have seen the time move about, the tone has sort of shifted this dark tone toward the end of the game.
Yeah.
But there's all them little signs of the butterfly patterns. This is what's implied to have been burned on them. This is apparently the pattern they saw as well.
The necessity of presence born from absence. The constant unfolding.
Getting a bit deep for me now, I'm afraid.
Some of these things that Kate's saying, like her getting very deep with the pattern, how she refers to the pattern, and particularly when she was talking in one of the early ones about seeing everyone together, and that I'm sort of seeing parallels with it being some kind of instrumentality, the idea of the pattern just bringing everyone together in an afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
That in a way could be why Kate was also so passive about like Lizzie getting away and things. Like this was her accepting that everyone else is together with whoever they needed. Like Wendy is with Eddie now, and Stephen's with Lizzie, and all these different things, and Frank obviously with Mary. And maybe this is her way of saying that, and now everyone else is gone, it's her and the pattern.
Yeah, and that's kind of both sad and beautiful in a way.
If you're looking at it from her perspective, her emotional needs, I would see it as kind of her making the best of this situation. That, like, because she knows the end time's coming, because she has to at this point, realistically, she's just trying to accept it almost. Even though she is dealing with some degree of insanity, she's doing it in a way that's like reserved, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I watched the pattern lean in and time slow to almost nothing. I saw the flame leap from Stephen's hand and the moment hang in the air forever. I watched his face, and in the last second, I almost believe he saw me. He wasn't frightened or angry.
Thinking about it now, talking about the flame dancing from his hand and seeing his face, that could be representative of his ending.
Yeah, that's what I thought of first of all.
That's what I was thinking as well, and
I loved him as he entered the fire.
Yeah.
And I let him go, knowing I wasn't ready to join him.
That's a line that could also give credence to the we're playing as Kate thing, that she wasn't ready to join Stephen at the time, and possibly this was just her rethinking things through, trying to see all the other characters' perspectives, and coming to terms with what's the right approach for her.
I spent my life watching the illumination from a million dead stars reaching for me without grasping this meaning. The light we cast transcends our death. The pattern made by our living creates a bridge across the dark.
That's another thing that gives me thoughts towards the idea of instrumentality, the idea that there's something after.
Also, it's quite beautiful that this piece of music comes after that very profound statement from Kate.
God, equations all up the street and everything.
That look like they've been somewhat defaced, at least the ones at the bottom. And that could be a symbolic thing for working their way up, or even just Stephen's frustration, like how he was covering up the areas where the pattern had been with paint. Maybe he was trying to cover up what he thought had caused it, maybe?
It reaches out from the shadow of the tower, across the observatory, over the valley, and consumes the world. Everything is light now. Everything has come to rest.
She sounds like a religious zealot right now, honestly, which is ironic for a woman of science.
It's interesting you say that, because we've seen both camps really lose faith in their particular stance, because it could be in the same way that we saw the religious folk having, becoming a bit disenfranchised with God after all the suffering and that. In a way, we've got Kate maybe being a bit disenfranchised with science and starting to lean the other way because this has led her to this.
But also, because to be fair, how can science explain what the pattern is? Because just nothing seems to come close to explaining it.
At least not at the point in which everybody's gone to the Rapture takes place.
Exactly.
Well, I feel the the credits rapidly coming on to us. So, Richie, everybody's gone to the Rapture. Final thoughts as brief as you can make them, please, mate.
It's been a fascinating ride. I can see why it's not particularly interesting from a gameplay standpoint, and I think that it should be rightly criticised for that, because there are ways that they could have improved that situation, but this is still incredibly fascinating, and I think it's got a really interesting narrative.
What about you, Flame?
I really like what Rapture attempts to do. I wish it performed better. That's my only real bone to pick. I don't mind that it's a walking sim. I think it works for this kind of game. I think it's the kind of thing that you'll get as much from it as you put into it, as Richie mentioned earlier. And on the whole, I appreciate what it does.
I kind of wish there was some more, like, optional lore to get. I love those sorts of things in games, when you can flesh stuff out if you want to. If not, you can just follow the basic story. But I love the visual design of the game. I think it looks graphically beautiful. I like the characters, although I would have liked to seen a little bit more of them, but, you know, going chapter by chapter works to give them each their own, you know, unique focus. And I kind of like the story a lot, how it deals with the end times and so on. And I really feel sorry for Kate, Jesus.
We are born apart.
Yeah, her meeting her fate here, like, it's one of these things that it kind of hits home how lonely she is now and how she's making this of it, that, you know, she's alone and moving on now.
That dancing in a strip of sunlight. We can find what we miss.
Something's coming to take her. I just hope she's ready for it.
The imminence. Everybody found their other.
There we go, everyone found their other, the others all together, and she's with the pattern.
I guess we'll leave it there. So I've been Antom64.
I've been the Flameclaw.
And I've been X-Gamer Richie.
Thank you for watching our walking sim through, if you will, or playthrough of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Thanks for watching. See you next time for another HFC playthrough. Bye bye.